When you look at Melanie Griffith and the legacy she carries through films like Working Girl, it may seem like her life was always surrounded by glamour, opportunity, and effortless success, but the truth behind her journey is far more intense, far more emotional, and far more inspiring than it appears on the surface, because her story is not just about fame, it is about falling, rising, and finding the strength to begin again even when life becomes overwhelming. And what makes her journey so powerful is that she experienced both the highest peaks and some of the most difficult lows, navigating an industry that can be both rewarding and unforgiving, while also facing personal battles that tested her resilience in ways that go far beyond what the public could see. And from a very early stage in her life, she was exposed to the world of Hollywood, growing up around it, understanding its beauty but also its pressures, and stepping into it herself at a young age, which meant that she had to learn quickly how to navigate a space where expectations are high and mistakes are often magnified, and this early exposure shaped her in many ways, giving her opportunities but also challenges that required maturity, strength, and a deep sense of self. And as her career began to take shape, she showed undeniable talent, a presence that captured attention, and a vulnerability that made her performances feel real and engaging. But alongside her professional growth came personal struggles that made her journey far from easy, because success does not protect you from hardship. And in her case, she faced moments that could have easily defined her in a negative way, yet she refused to let them be the final chapter of her story, and this is where her true strength begins to show. Because it is one thing to succeed when everything is going well, but it is something entirely different to keep going when life becomes difficult. When you are facing challenges that shake your confidence and test your resilience, and instead of giving up, she chose to fight, to rebuild, and to keep moving forward even when the path was uncertain. And this determination is what makes her story so inspiring, because it reminds us that setbacks are not the end, they are part of the journey, and that no matter how far you fall, you always have the ability to rise again. And her breakthrough in Working Girl became a defining moment, not just because it brought her recognition and acclaim, but because it symbolized a turning point, a moment where her talent, her effort, and her perseverance came together in a way that could not be ignored. And this success showed the world what she was capable of, but more importantly, it showed her what she was capable of, and that realization is often the most powerful part of any journey, because once you see your own potential, it changes the way you approach everything. It gives you confidence, it gives you belief, and it reminds you that you are stronger than your challenges. And yet, even after achieving such success, her journey did not suddenly become easy. She continued to face ups and downs, moments of stability followed by moments of struggle, and this cycle is something that many people experience in their own lives. Because success is not a straight line, it is a series of highs and lows, and what matters most is how you respond to them. And Melanie Griffith's story is a powerful example of resilience, because she did not allow her setbacks to define her. She used them as opportunities to learn, to grow, and to come back stronger. And this is a lesson that applies to everyone, because no matter what challenges you face, you have the ability to overcome them, to rebuild, and to create a new chapter. And beyond her career, her personal life reflects the same complexity, the same strength, and the same willingness to keep going despite difficulties. Because balancing fame, relationships, and personal well-being is not easy, and she faced challenges in all of these areas, yet she continued to move forward, showing that strength is not about being perfect, it is about being persistent, about continuing even when things are not going as planned. And this is what makes her story so relatable, because it is real, it is not a perfect narrative. It is a journey filled with struggles, lessons, and growth, and as she continued to evolve, taking on different roles and exploring new opportunities, she demonstrated that it is never too late to redefine yourself, to rebuild your path, and to create something meaningful. And this idea of reinvention is one of the most powerful aspects of her journey, because it shows that your past does not limit your future, that no matter what you have been through, you have the ability to change direction, to make new choices, and to create a life that reflects your strength and your determination. And as you reflect on everything she has experienced, it becomes clear that her story is not just about fame or success. It is about resilience, about the courage to face challenges, and about the strength to keep going even when life becomes difficult. And this is what makes her journey so inspiring, because it reminds you that you are not defined by your struggles. You are defined by how you rise from them, by the choices you make, and by your willingness to keep moving forward. And if there is one message that stands out from her story, it is this: that no matter how many times life knocks you down, you always have the power to stand back up, to rebuild, and to create something new, something stronger, and something that reflects the resilience and determination within you. Because your story is not over until you decide it is, and as long as you keep going just like she did, there is always another chapter waiting to be written, one that has the potential to be even more powerful than anything that came before. What truly defines the journey of Melanie Griffith is not just the moments when she stood at the top, but the way she handled the times when everything seemed uncertain. Because after achieving recognition through films like Working Girl, many would assume that the path ahead would remain steady and predictable, but life rarely follows a straight line, and her story is a powerful reflection of that reality. As she navigated the complexities of fame, personal struggles, and the constant pressure to maintain success in an industry that is always changing, and what makes her journey so compelling is that she never allowed herself to be defined by a single moment, whether it was a success or a setback. Instead, she continued to evolve, to adapt, and to find new ways to move forward. Even when the path was not clear, and this ability to keep going, to rebuild after difficult periods, is what sets her apart. Because resilience is not about avoiding challenges. It is about facing them, learning from them, and using them as stepping stones toward growth. And throughout her life, she experienced moments that tested her in ways that went far beyond her career. Moments that required her to look inward, to confront her own struggles, and to find the strength to overcome them. And this process is never easy. It requires honesty, courage, and a willingness to change. But it is also what leads to transformation. Because growth often comes from the most difficult experiences. And in her case, those experiences shaped her into someone who understood the importance of perseverance, of self-awareness, and of continuing to move forward even when progress feels slow. And as she continued her career, taking on different roles and exploring new opportunities, she demonstrated that success is not about staying in one place. It is about evolving, about being open to change, and about embracing new challenges with the understanding that each step, no matter how small, contributes to your overall journey. And this mindset is something that resonates deeply. Because in life, just like in her story, there are times when things do not go as planned, when progress feels uncertain, and when it becomes easy to doubt yourself. But her journey shows that those moments are not the end. They are part of the process. They are opportunities to learn, to grow, and to come back stronger. And beyond her professional life, her personal experiences add another layer of depth to her story. Because balancing relationships, family, and personal well-being while navigating a public life is incredibly challenging. And yet she continued to move forward, showing that strength is not about having a perfect life. It is about continuing despite imperfections, despite difficulties, and despite the unexpected twists that life brings. And this is what makes her story so relatable, because it reflects the reality that everyone faces in their own way. The ups and downs, the moments of doubt, and the need to keep going even when things are not easy. And as time went on, she embraced the idea of reinvention, understanding that you are not limited by your past, that you have the ability to change, to grow, and to create a new direction for your life. And this idea is incredibly powerful because it removes the weight of past mistakes. It allows you to focus on the present, and it gives you the freedom to build a future that reflects who you are, becoming rather than who you once were. And this is a lesson that applies to everyone, because no matter where you are in your journey, you have the ability to take a new step, to make a different choice, and to move towards something better. And what makes her story even more inspiring is the fact that she continued to show up, to continue working, to continue growing, even when it would have been easier to step away. And this persistence is what defines true strength. Because it is not about never falling, it is about always finding a way to rise.